starting with 1 million luck points. Chapter 171, Shocking Everyone Again. There were many large spatial rifts worldwide, and there were a total of 6 large spatial rifts located in the Huaxia area. They were in the east, south, west, north, east central plains, and west central plains. Once any of the defense lines of the spatial rift fortress collapsed, the other spatial rift defense lines would also be affected. Buzz. An electric current sounded, and then the 7th grade supernatural expert who called Blind Yu laughed excitedly. Ha ha ha, Lei Hu, where did you find such a valiant super expert? He's too ferocious. In less than half a minute, he insta-killed a peak overlord level insect queen. Lei Hu and the others quickly heard the other supernatural experts' incoherent excitement. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That was a peak overlord level insect queen, but she fell in a single move. A 9th grade supernatural grandmaster really lives up to his reputation. This senior Joe is really impressive. After killing the insect queen, he killed almost 10,000 insect beasts with a single saber move. His combat strength is simply peerless. Hearing this, Lei Hu and the others looked at each other and heaved a sigh of relief. The southern spatial rift fortress finally passed this crisis safely. However, when they regained their senses, their faces revealed disbelief. After all, it would take at least half an hour for a fighter aircraft to arrive from the eastern fortress to the southern fortress. However, this senior Joe only took half an hour to arrive at the southern fortress base and had already resolved the crisis. Such efficiency was simply shocking. What they did not know was that Zhou Hao had even deliberately delayed for a while, mainly because he was afraid that his speed would scare these supernatural experts. With a peak-level supernatural expert like Senior Zhou around, our Huaxia will have nothing to worry about. That's right. He killed a peak overlord level foreign race with ease. Moreover, his saber technique was shockingly powerful. He can sweep through an entire army with a single move. I feel that Senior Zhou alone is comparable to an entire army. I even suspect that Senior Zhou's combat strength has already broken through the supernatural level. Ziyan, Xiaowan, and the other supernatural experts sighed. Lei Hu shook his head with a solemn expression. Although we have an expert like Senior Zhou protecting the fortress base, we still can't relax. The spatial rifts have always been a huge problem. Many of our predecessors have died in it. To this day, even the seniors who have broken past the supernatural level who are resisting the foreign races. Previously, we didn't have the spare energy to explore the situation in the spatial rift. Now that Senior Zhou is holding down the fort, we don't have anything to worry about for the time being. I think it's time for us to discuss how to continue entering the spatial rift to investigate the situation. Ziyan, Xiaowan, and the others nodded. Senior Lei Hu is right. Senior Zhou also mentioned exploring the spatial rift earlier. After all, if we don't figure out the situation of the spatial rift, we will forever be forced to resist the foreign race's invasion. I agree with this. Shi Ji said slowly. The other supernatural experts nodded one after another. When Lei Hu heard this, he could not help but say, in that case, when Senior Zhou returns, we'll hold a meeting between the supernaturals. At 10:30 p.m. The supernatural meeting had just ended. As the honorary president, Zhou Hao did not speak the entire time. He knew his limits well. Although he was powerful, he was still inexperienced in making decisions. Therefore, in the entire meeting, he listened to the opinions of others and occasionally nodded in agreement. Senior Zhou, I still think that we have to get rid of the dark gods before entering the spatial rift. Otherwise, we won't be able to rest easy. A few supernatural experts hurriedly chased up to Zhou Hao and expressed their opinions. After all, everyone knew Zhou Hao's strength. Every word and action of his was greatly valued. Zhou Hao couldn't help but stop when he heard this. Of course, he hated the dark gods very much. Not only was his good friend Zhang Yi's sister still in their hands, but even Su Ling had almost been killed by the dark god's assassin. Your name is Zhang. Zhang Bei, right? Zhou Hao looked at a middle-aged supernatural expert. The middle-aged supernatural expert hurriedly nodded. Only then did Zhou Hao continue, the dark gods are indeed an unstable factor. I personally agree with your point of view, but the prerequisite is that we have to find the dark god's headquarters first. If you have any clues, tell me. This way, I can persuade Lei Hu and the others to eliminate the dark gods first. When Zhang Bei heard this, he was immediately overjoyed. Senior Zhou, don't worry. We will definitely handle this matter seriously and strive to find the headquarters of the dark gods. All the best. With that said, Zhou Hao's body flashed and disappeared from the supernatural building. Chapter 172, Improved Spirit. When Zhou Hao returned to the villa, it was already 10:40 p.m. He took a hot shower and lay in bed. Then, he opened the virtual screen of the Heaven Dao software. He glanced at the bottom right corner. Luck points, 68,169,100, current level, blessed by Lady Luck. After killing the insect beasts at the southern spatial rift fortress base, he had obtained nearly 40 million luck points. This was mainly because the insect wave army was composed of low-level insect generals, high-level insect kings, and very few overlord-level insect beasts. Moreover, after the peak-level overlord-level insect queen died, the other insect beasts retreated crazily. Although Zhou Hao killed quickly, he still needed time. Therefore, he only earned 40 million in the end. However, he was still very satisfied with this. After all, it had only taken him half an hour. Retracting his gaze, Zhou Hao quickly noticed the notification screen flashing. He opened it and saw that it was actually a voice message from Fairy Ling. He opened it and heard a crisp and pleasant thank you. It had to be said that Fairy Ling's voice was indeed very pleasant to the ear. There was a hint of coldness in her sweetness, and it also carried a trace of natural charm. Presumably, this was also the reason why the latter's voice broadcast could accumulate a lot of popularity. This time, Zhou Hao did not go to Fairy Ling's live stream room. Instead, he went to his personal page backpack and received all the energy bars, cultivation technique fruits, comprehension leaves, and concept pills he had obtained last time. Soon, information regarding the 4 gifts spread in Zhou Hao's mind. Energy bar, can quickly increase the energy of living beings. Cultivation technique fruit, able to reduce the time of cultivation. Comprehension leaf, enhances the comprehension of living beings. Concept pill, effectively increases understanding of everything in the world. Zhou Hao directly experienced these gifts himself this time. He first consumed the energy bar. This energy bar was similar to snacks and fries. He ate it bite by bite. Immediately, pure energy surged into his body and washed his limbs. If it was an ordinary person, they would probably be able to reach the martial artist level after eating just 100 to 200. However, Zhou Hao had already reached the perfect foundation establishment, so the impact of these energy bars on him was already minimal. Next were the cultivation technique fruits, comprehension leaves, and concept pills. After consuming the first 2 gifts, there were still no obvious changes. However, after consuming 10p concept pills consecutively, his spirit seemed to have improved. Boom! As his spirit improved, everything around him became clearer. Suddenly, Zhou Hao's eyes were better at perceiving the flow of the air, the breathing of Su Ling, Yun Yan, and the others in the distance. After his body had completed the transformation of the 9 revolutions golden body art, his senses towards the world had become incomparably sharp for the first time. Moreover, whether it was the sky-splitting divine technique or the golden crow escape technique, the mysterious information kept in the back of his head flashed again and again like a movie through the improvement of his spirit. Zhou Hao immediately understood that these two powerful secret techniques actually involved unfathomable spatial profundities. In the past, even though he had forcefully comprehended the profundities of the two secret techniques because of the mystery box and could use them, he had not truly understood the true profundity of the two secret techniques. It was just like how one could drive a car without having to understand the true principle behind it. But now, after consuming 100 concept pills, he had gradually come into contact with the essence of the myriad of things in the world and understood the true profundity of the two secret techniques. Without hesitation, Zhou Hao hurriedly swallowed the remaining concept pills. His spirit continued to improve. However, this time, he did not care about the miraculous changes in the surrounding environment. Instead, he focused on comprehending the essence of the sky-splitting divine technique and the golden crow escape technique. However, unfortunately, the two secret techniques were too powerful. After maintaining the improvements of his spirit with another 500 concept pills, he was starting to get diminishing returns. So the concept pill actually has such a miraculous effect. Although I can use two powerful secret techniques, if I don't understand the true essence and profundity, I will undoubtedly lose miserably if I encounter other experts who also cultivate powerful secret techniques in the future. Zhou Hao muttered as his eyes flickered. Chapter 173, Feeding Su Ling. Now, he also understood the drawbacks of the mystery box rare level cultivation technique. Fortunately, he had discovered the problem in advance through the concept pill. Otherwise, such a hidden danger would definitely cost him his life in the future. Since the concept pill has such a miraculous effect, what about the upgraded version, the concept scroll? Zhou Hao took a deep breath and suppressed the urge to enter the live stream room. I'll take it one step at a time. There's no hurry. After calming down, he was about to close the software when a message was sent. Needless to say, it was Fairy Yu Ling. Big shot, if you want to come to the live stream room, you can inform me. I'll change it to a video broadcast. This was the message she had sent. Zhou Hao immediately replied, sure. After understanding the effect of the concept pill, he indeed needed to enter the live stream. The next day, at the training camp training grounds. During the break, Zhou Hao, Su Ling, Yun Yan, and the others gathered together. The other students also formed a circle. Only Ji Yufan, who was cold and arrogant, glared at the students who wanted to suck up to him. Lei Jinpeng curled his lips in disdain. This Ji Yufan is too arrogant. Fang Yu said, he indeed has the strength to be arrogant. I heard that last night, the Ji family used some channels to buy him a secret technique. Apparently, his technique costs just as much as ours. In just one night, he has already cultivated the secret technique to the second level. What? The second level? Shock appeared on Wang Shuo and Yuan Cheng's faces. Su Ling couldn't help but frown. As the top 10, they had all obtained supernatural secret techniques worth 100 billion yuan. It was extremely difficult for them to even master such a secret technique, let alone cultivate it to the second level. Zhou Hao could not help but ask, is it very difficult to cultivate those secret techniques? Nonsense, of course it's difficult. Yuan Cheng, Yun Yan, and the others haven't even reached the entry level. I haven't as well. Su Ling has only just reached the entry level. What about you, Zhou Hao? Fang Yu asked as she looked. Me? I haven't started on it yet, Zhou Hao said casually. Fang Yu, Yuan Cheng, and the others were all speechless. If they could, they wished they could go over their precious secret techniques hundreds of times a day. However, Zhou Hao had not even read it once. Su Ling glared at Zhou Hao, her eyes seeming to say, you're too lazy. All the best. No matter what, we can't let that annoying fellow Ji Yufan get first place. Fang Yu clapped her hands. At this moment, Instructor Yang Hui whistled. The students who were resting immediately gathered and began training. In the evening, Zhou Hao ordered 2 servings of food and went to Su Ling's villa. Su Ling had just taken a shower and her clothes were still thrown on the sofa. When she saw Zhou Hao, she was so shy that she hurriedly covered her underwear. I saw everything. Su Ling, you seem to like black and white. Zhou Hao chuckled and sat on the sofa. At the same time, he placed the food on the coffee table. Su Ling's earlobes were red with embarrassment. Zhou Hao, you bastard. She grabbed the pillow and threw it over. Zhou Hao hurriedly said, I was just joking. I bought dinner for you. Eat quickly while it's still hot. When Su Ling saw the food, she snorted. At least you're considerate. Remember to knock when you come in the future. As she spoke, she picked up the food and started eating. What are these small fruits in the food? I've never seen them before, she asked curiously as she picked up a fruit that was similar to a cherry. Maybe they're fresh fruits from the canteen, Zhou Hao said perfunctorily. Those fruits were naturally cultivation technique fruits. Su Ling quickly ate a few fruits and frowned. These fruits don't taste at all, but they melt in my mouth. Zhou Hao urged, eat more. It's good for your body. After eating, he secretly left behind another 100 cultivation technique fruits. For the next 2 days, every time he ate with Su Ling, he would put the cultivation technique fruit in Su Ling's food and occasionally mixed it with the comprehension leaf. As for the energy bar and concept pill, he did not mix them in since the effects were too obvious. On the 6th day of school, during the morning training and break, Fang Yu and the others chatted about cultivation techniques and secret techniques. Ji Yufan has reached the 3rd level. Fang Yu, who often asked around, revealed. The higher the level of the supernatural secret technique, the harder it is to cultivate. This Ji Yufan's comprehension ability is too high. It's only been a few days. Lei Jinpeng gritted his teeth. Yuan Cheng and Yun Yan sighed. If this continues, I'm afraid Ji Yufan will be the undisputed number 1 at the end of this month.